Hey everybody, Zeke back with some more Path of Exile for you guys. You know the vibes by now. We're going to do some testing, we're going to do a bunch of runs. This time we're going to try Tributes of the Goddess. Now some new tech just dropped in the last week or so from a couple of solo self-found guys who do a lot of lab running. I think a couple of other YouTubers have mentioned it too, but essentially it appears there's a 1 in 6 chance when you're running Tributes of the Goddess to get a Grand Spectrum Jewel from the silver chests. So that essentially means a 1 in 2 chance per run because there are 3 silver chests per lab if you're running tributes. So I just kind of want to run this and see how the weightings feel, see if the expensive ones like the max HP one or the minimum frenzy charge one. I think the minimum endurance charge one's also pretty valuable. I just want to see if we can get some of these and then kind of get on paper just how many of the good ones we're getting to see if they're all weighted the same or, what's going on there. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hop in here. Now, it might be a couple of days later. I don't want to run this on a really obnoxious lab day, so I'm just going to keep up with the lab notes and see which days are really conducive to this, and then I'll get back with you guys with the results. Thanks. Alright guys, we are back. That's 50 up, 50 down on the tributes. A lot of strange things happened. I ran this over about a week just to try to break it up and make sure there wasn't any weird variance that had to do with the lab seed of the day or something. It doesn't seem to be the case, but there are some mysteries left unsolved. We'll get to those in a minute. But first, let me announce a couple of things if you don't mind. We are 40 for 40 on challenges. I finished the 6,000 map mods, so I'm free. Hallelujah. I never want to do that again. That is a terrible challenge. I was 39 of 40 for like 2 weeks and finally squeezed this nonsense out. Outside of the game, the channel actually hit 1,000 subscribers while I was doing this. You guys are incredible. Thank you so much for that. I really can't even describe what a good feeling that was to wake up to. Thank you so much. I really mean it. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into what you guys came for. So, ignore the jewels for a second. Let's just quickly touch on this junk over here. I only saw 3 of the boots drop. They're about 80C a piece. This rolls about a divine. I left a couple of shields in just so you could see what those look like, just as a subtle nod that they do drop. We got a Soul Taker from one of the chests at the end, so that was pretty cool, but it's only about 40C this league, so, not the greatest, but 40 Chaos is 40 Chaos. Now, one of the 6 rolls you can get on a silver chest spews out a bunch of div cards and then picks one at random and gives you a max stack of them. So I got 5 of the Price of Prescience from one. I just left it in as another nod to say that, it's possible for it to duplicate like a high-end card if you're lucky. And speaking of high-end cards, I got a Love Through Ice from one of those silver chests. Now, I thought this was exclusively a Redeemer or stacked deck drop. Turns out the silver chests seem to be pulling from the same pool that a stacked deck does, so this could have spit out an Apothecary. And then it could, if you got insanely lucky, give you a max stack of that Apothecary. Just kind of a weird synergy that's going on here that I thought I would point to. Now, this card's about 7 divines. That's pretty cool. A nice little addition. But let's go ahead and jump into these strange gems. I got a total of 15 gems from 150 silver keys and 150 in chests. So I left these 2 up here because they came from chests at the end of the labyrinth. I got, on average, about 3 treasure keys per run. Really hard for my build to not just shred through the generals by accident with wayward projectiles. So we'll just call it 3 on average because I killed Argus a lot. So these 2 came from that, and then 13 jewels from silver chests. Now, I was told this was a 1 in 6 chance. Granted, 150 isn't a big enough sample size to be conclusive, but it certainly doesn't feel like all of the drops are weighted the same. I feel like I got the quality gems chest like 40% of the time. It just kept giving me gems. My filter wasn't showing anything. It was getting kind of frustrating. So I would say that this feels more like a 1 in 10, 1 in 12 chance for the silvered keys to give you a Grand Spectrum chest. But once again, take that with a grain of salt, but also take what other content creators are saying with a grain of salt. I just don't believe this is a 1 in 6. But what I do believe is that the weighting is very heavy on the Viridian side. Of our 15 jewels, 12 of them were green. What? Why? This doesn't make any sense. Why are we weighting so heavily on this side? I got so superstitious at one point that I almost had a buddy of mine on a Templar run 10 of these just to see if they would get different results. just to see if maybe my choice of ranger was influencing the color of jewels it wanted to give me. I've never known PoE to do anything like that, so I don't think that's the case, but I was just getting a little stir crazy trying to figure out why I was just seeing green jewels. So we didn't get any of the expensive reds. We only got one of these guys. It's about 65, 70 chaos right now. These two aren't worth very much, maybe 25 chaos apiece. I don't think any of the blues are worth that much. We did get 7 of the avoid Ellie ailments. These are about 140 chaos apiece right now. Let's just tick that box. That's cool. We got 3 of the Ellie damage ones. These are around 1.3 divines, 1.4, something like that. And then our big win, we got 2 of the minimum frenzy charge jewels. In case you don't know, these are around 24 divines. So this totally carried our profit on this run, and we got 2 of them. I don't know what the odds are. The weighting seems pretty low, but heck yeah. Now, let's get into our numbers. I want to give a couple of quick disclaimers on this. This took me about 10 hours total. I clocked it at about 12 minutes per run, because you have to think that a typical lab run, Uber Lab, takes 7 to 8 rooms on average, I would say, to get from start to finish and get your helmet enchant. Because you have to go get 3 silver keys and 3 silver doors, it ends up being closer to like 12 to 13 rooms on average you have to go through and track through. So it really cranks the time up. My time, once again, was about 12 minutes a run. That's 5 an hour, so 10 hours total. I calculated these jewels to be about 60 divines total, so you got 25 plus 25, and then another 10 from all these guys. So my profit from jewels ended up only being about 60 divines before we talk about cost. So I guess you could say that the value of these jewels ended up coming out to about 6 divines an hour. Keep in mind, I was getting the twice blessed enchant a lot from the shrines in there, and I made probably 25 divines, I would say, give or take, from selling helmet enchants. My lab base tab is kind of getting low. I need to just get rid of these. But yeah, I got the tornado shot enchant twice in there and a couple of good mana reservation enchants, so about 25 divines on top of it, another 8 or so divines from here. So I think my profit per hour ended up being closer to 10, but the jewel side only about 6, and that's only if you happen to get a couple of big wins like this. So I can't really recommend this if you're just trying to like maximize a safe profit per hour. But what I can say is the setup time is extremely low. All you have to do is purchase a Tribute of the Goddess for 40 chaos is what I bought all mine for. So the entry cost is very low. The time to set it up is also very low. It's only 1 trade. And then once you do like 5 or 6 of these runs on a day, it all turns into kind of highway hypnosis. I was just kind of listening to music, watching videos and stuff. And once I got the feel for the layout, I just kind of zoned out and just zipped on through this every day. So it's not as bad as it feels initially. The lab's not the most fun thing in the world, but once you kind of get a feel for the patterns and an understanding of your layout of the day, it's not nearly as taxing. It does require a pretty quick build though, so while the entry cost is pretty low, the builds you need to be running is either got to be really specialized to survive in level 83 Labyrinth, or it has to just be like overall strong. My build is just very strong because I've got a Mage Blood on. I know you can like do like a Queen of the Forest build or something on the cheap, but that would be a build that probably can't clear a lot of other content, so it's kind of pick your poison. I would say that at our current profit per hour projection here, this isn't worth running if you have a build like mine that can run pretty much all content. But it was a nice little breakaway from the norm to just kind of see what's going on. I'm going to do more of them to try to figure out what exactly is influencing this weighting, or if maybe GGG just decided, let's make Viridian Jewels like 90% of the weighting. It's a mystery. If you guys happen to have any advice or any insight on why this is the way it is, feel free to leave it in the comment sections and I'll do this test some more. A lot of fun, a lot of cool drops. Hopefully this helped some of you guys. If it did, feel free to leave me a like. I really appreciate it. Thank you as always for your time, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.